Hey everyone, Pi here with another episode of Piece of the Pie. I have with me BC on Twitter at Bleeding Crypto, and he's going to be doing a Bitcoin analysis for us, going to be breaking down what he thinks will happen with this market. So are we going up, down? We'll hear what he has to say. And on top of it, we also had 2 altcoin requests. I had posted a tweet on Twitter and you guys gave us some suggestions, so I took 2 of those and gave those to BC, so we're going to be looking at those as well. So stick around, it's going to be a really exciting show. He's going to give us all of his insights on TA, so if you're new to TA, definitely stick around and you'll learn some very important key things to know when you're looking at the markets and how to analyze them yourself and how to do the same for altcoins that you're either invested into or you are planning to invest into. So I will let BC get us started. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's see what BC has to say. And take it away, BC.
Thank you very much, Pi. So let's take a look at the market. We'll go ahead and start. I say we start with BTC. What do you think, Pi?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, perfect. Let me go ahead and start. Let me open up my chart here. Guys, we do have the requests that you guys sent over to Pi, and we'll take a look at those. For right now, we'll start with BTC. So BTC, we've been following this chart. If you guys been following me along for a few months now, and we are at the point where I'm thinking it might be possible that we're going to see a short-term rally. And let me explain to you why. If we zoom out into the weekly time frame, and just let me turn off all this noise and let's just get just the basics. We'll just take a look at the MACD, which kind of shows that momentum volume, and you can start seeing the volume oscillator printing in those higher lows on the volume oscillator, and you start seeing the MACD cross and start pointing towards a cross indicator. Something like this, typically, if it continues and the volume continues to come in, we're gonna get a potential bull cross. And what that means is, if we look to the left here, I'll show you what that means. You see this curve here, guys? You see this volume oscillator printing in those higher lows? We're kind of on this spot right here. So if we continue in that route, in that momentum, when we cross, look at the potential of what we have to look forward to. However, I do think that overall the market needs some correction, but one of the things that we can always count on when we look at Bitcoin is that she doesn't come down in a straight line. She always has rallies. On the way down, she'll have rallies, and before going into new lower lows. And let's just give let me give a quick example of that. Let's go back to 2018 to kind of give you a little bit better perspective on what I'm talking about. So as I'm talking about the current market structure and the current price action, it'll make a little sense. So as you all know, we have the top here close to $20,000 back in 2017. Then we had a 50% drop here, guys. 50% drop down here, and then you can see where we recovered quite a bit of that. We recovered quite a bit. We went from $11,000 back up to 17,200, and then we started to come back down again. Now, after we put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of downside, and we went all the way down to $5,000, we came back up to $11,000. So you can see here how this didn't just go straight down to our $3,200 bottom. We had a lot of little rallies, we can call those rallies, before we ended up hitting the bottom of the market. So when I fast forward till right now, and I'm looking at this structure, and I'm looking at the top here, we dropped down from 69,000 all the way down to 41,000. Then we pushed up to 52,000 before dropping all the way back down to 32,000. We moved back up to 46,000. You see the pattern, guys? The similar pattern on the way down that we had in 2018. We're starting to experience that. Now, we pretty much are now inside of a range here. Now, this range here, the fact that we're consolidating here for about a month and a half or so, and we're starting to curl here, I'm starting to think that we may hit, there are some levels that I'm thinking that I'm watching out for. And let me actually do this, guys. I'm gonna clean this chart up just a little bit by going to a different exchange that has my notes so it doesn't get too crowded in the chart for the one that we've been following. This is my new chart on the Bitfinex exchange. Similar price action, but there's a lot less notations on here to kind of help you guys follow along with the point that I'm trying to make here. So what I'm looking at, guys, I'm looking at this range here. This is a pretty broad range, to be honest. It goes from 46,000 to 51,000. And the reason for that broad range that I'm looking at is because there's a lot of support and resistance inside of this range here. So when we are now below that, and we have a potential to move back up, if that is the case. I'm not saying we are, but I can make a case for it. And we look inside of this area here, she could easily stop at the bottom, which is the prior support, or she may even go to the top, the prior resistance in this area here. So in this area here is where I could see a short-term rally. Now, here's something that the bulls may like to hear, is that if she breaks above here, I'm going to be paying really close attention, because we do have a possibility of a continuation. So one of the things that an analyst is responsible to do, he or she needs to make a good case for the bears and for the bulls. There's always a possibility for both. Now, I've made my case pretty clear these past couple of months of why I think we are going to go into a bear season. So most of you guys who have listened to those know that. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to have you guys just go back to some of my videos on my YouTube channel, and you can listen to those for the case that I made for the bears to go back down to the 300 EMA, which, real quick, I'll recap it. Again, not to go into too much, but to recap it, look at the 300 EMA. This blue line is a 300 EMA. 300 EMA caught the bottom of that black swan event back in 2020, which was actually the bottom of the 2019 bull run. And if we go to 2017, the bottom of that market again was caught down at the 300 EMA. So with that in mind, now let's take a look at a case for the bears. One could argue, guys, that we still have a continuation pattern to put in another higher high, and there is definitely a case for it. One of the things that when you analyze a market is you want to find what is the probability and what is the I lost my train of thought. The probability and possibility. Now, the probability of continuation, I think, is much lower, and I think it's more possible that we're going to go into a bear season. But if we are not, here would be the case that I would make for the bulls. The bulls need, if they are indeed going to continue, they need to at least break this area here for me to say, hey, you know what? The chances of continuation are now much greater. It's very hard for me to see a market that has ran up to 60, what this was, I believe the high was 65,000, and then have a mid-cycle correction, then go up to 69,000, and we had another correction, and then continue even greater. We have had an incredible run from $3,900. Yeah. Guys, you have to understand the way markets work. Markets don't just go up only. There's gotta be a retracement. That's where profit taking happens. That's what strengthens a market. A market needs to be able to have a reason to continue. And that number one reason is going to be profit. That's why people invest. That's why market makers come into this space. They want to be able to put money into an asset and know they can make money on it, and know that they can go ahead and rinse and repeat. So a continuation to the high to me seems less probable, but possible. but it definitely isn't impossible, but possible. But probable for me is more downside. Now, like I mentioned before, you break this here, there's a good chance that we're going to put in another higher high. If we put in another higher high, I would have to rely on our harmonic pattern to give me a little bit more of an accurate. I like using harmonic patterns. So let's do this. Let's take the low of this move here. We'll clone this here. Harmonic patterns is something, guys, if you get into TA and you start understanding how these cycles work, a harmonic pattern is a very accurate tool to measure continuation. So a continuation here for this harmonic pattern will put us right here at $42,300 area and would obviously establish a new, I misspelled this here. Let me put this right. A new higher high would definitely be in the cards if this is going to be the pattern that the market makers are going to take it. So $72,000 target would become more probable if we close above this box here. Now, what I'm thinking is if we don't, the probability now becomes a lower target. And we're going to be looking, my very first target is going to be the 200 EMA on the weekly time frame. Now, if we put a fib on it, for you guys who like using fibs or who understand fibs, we're going to take the absolute high all the way to the absolute low. 200 EMA puts us right into that golden ratio. Yeah, right into the golden ratio. So there's definitely a case for lower targets. And again, if we go back down to the 300 EMA, it puts us at the 300 EMA puts us at 20,000, which, check this out, guys. Look how cool TA, look how cool TA works out. You see this line that I just created in the 300 EMA pie? Now look at this. I swing to the right. What a coincidence.
Yeah.
We back test the prior high. And if you look at the price action, guys, back in 2020, look at this. Let me zoom in just to give you guys a good look. Look at this, guys. When we broke 20,000, what did we not do? What did we not do when we broke this? We never back tested this. And if you guys have been following my TA on YouTube and on Twitter, you'll notice that that's one of the metrics that I like to use when I'm looking for back tests for targets is those back tests. Whenever we lose an area of support, we normally go back and we back test it, and vice versa. When we blow through an area of resistance, we will go back test it before continuation. And look, guys, that hasn't been a single back test from 2020. So that's why, guys, I can make a case for both. And here's the thing, you don't have to marry, and you shouldn't marry one bias. You should allow the markets to dictate what your bias is. You should have invalidation points. So if I think that we're going into a bear season and yet I get invalidated by crossing this here, guess what? I need to change my bias. I need to start taking positions, and I need to adjust my strategy. If and when we break the 100 EMA, and if I was bullish, I would have to reassess and come to terms that this is my invalidation point as a bull, the 100 EMA. We have not broken that since we started the entire run. And that was a level here, as you can see, that held the previous mid-cycle correction. It has held a price action on this current retracement. So if we break and close below it here, guys, and when I say break it, guys, I know many of you may be looking at these wicks and say, well, BC, we broke it. Not technically. When I say we break it, that means we have to close above it. These were just wicks. There were shadows which actually ended up closing and opening above the 100 EMA. So losing that would signify us closing a candle below the 100 EMA. And if I was a bull and that were to happen, that would be my invalidation point. So I hope that was clear for you guys. We will continue covering Bitcoin as the weeks progress. Definitely tune into Pi's show so you can see when I'm going to be appearing on her show. And one other thing, guys, we did take some requests for you guys on some alts. And Pi, does it matter which one I cover first?
No, not at all.
Okay, let me go ahead. And what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to cover a brand new coin that was requested to us, and it was this one here. TIGR is the tag, TIGR BUSD. I had to look this one up on PooCoin as it's still too new and it did not come up on TradingView. So I wanted to cover this briefly because this was one that was requested, one of the most. And unfortunately, guys, as an analyst, there are certain metrics that I have to take off from. And when you look at a coin like this, you cannot TA this. So let me explain to you. There has been no market structure developed just yet. As you can see, this is a 12-hour time frame. Out the gate, she has just been on a rip. There is no metric for me to measure from. When we measure and we try to analyze a market, we need a cycle to happen, which means we need a low, we need a high, and we need some meat. We need some data to help us kind of discern where that retracement may lie, where that golden pocket is going to lay, whether it be the 618 or maybe the 706 or the 886. There's none of that information is provided to us, as all it's been doing is going up. Now, eventually, we all know, we've seen this play out before. This is not going to continue to go up forever. Eventually, she's going to come down. And then when she starts to come down, then we'll be able to look at this, reassess it, and see where that retracement may end up going. But as of right now, it's still too early to say this is where she's going to retrace from. It could definitely continue to go. But here's the thing, guys. If you're asking me about this, chances are you're in it. And here's where another way of analyzing a coin can help you figure out what to do with this coin. And this is going to be more of experience than more technicals. Guys, when you're in a coin like this, congratulations, first of all. Hopefully you got in down here and you're not getting in here. That's the first thing. Now, if you did play this smart and you did get in here, make sure you take profit. Here's the thing, guys. Many people who play coins like this, don't have the sufficient experience and they rely on others. And you have to understand that this space is full of people who trade based off emotion. If you're in a coin like this, what do you think the emotion is going to be? It's going to be high. It's going to be incredible. Everybody is happy, high-fiving each other, telling you how it's going to go to $1. All of those feelings and emotions are normal, is what people go through, but they're not going to give you a realistic expectation on how much money you can actually make, because the truth of the matter is you don't know. So how do you cover yourself, guys? What's your plan? What's your strategy? Most people that go into an asset like this, they don't even have an exit strategy. They're just going to keep on going, try to go with the crowd. But you know what happens usually with coins like this, guys? You see a big red, I call heartbreak candle. And that's where smart money took their profit. All the people that loaded up here and loaded up here are gonna eventually take their profit. Just look at the volume. Look at this volume. Look at this market structure going up, and look at the volume diminishing. You know what this is called, guys, in TA? This is called a volume bear divergence. Let me point it out here for you guys. Look. This here, as this mouth gets higher and higher and separate, it's causing a divergence. So this is a very, very cautious market structure that I would be looking at if I was inside of this particular asset. And it's one where if I was trading it, guys, and let's just say I put $1,000 in here, or wherever you put it in, the approach that I would take is every time this thing doubles, you sell half and you pull your free position. you remove all the risk, all of it. Because the truth of the matter is, guys, if this coin is going to go, and I hope it does for you guys, and I hope you make a lot of money, is you need to pull profit or it's not real. And if it is going to go, guess what? You continue to sell half every time it doubles, and you continue to pull profit. And when it does go down, whatever you're left with, you can just write it out. Write it out, because if this token is as good as people may, I don't know anything about it, so I don't know what it does, but if it's as good as the project claims it's going to be, then keeping that bag as it's going down and holding it for future, you don't lose anything. You've already removed your free position. Hopefully you've removed a couple of more free positions, and you've 2-3 extra money. And whatever you have left over is all gravy. You can let that ride. Hopefully it has another cycle in it, and it continues to go, and they continue to build, and everything is right with the world. Unfortunately, in crypto, it doesn't always work out like that. We all know this. 99% of the coins that do this, they come back down and they stay down forever. So I'm not saying that's what this project's going to do. I know nothing about it. I'm strictly speaking from experience and looking at the technicals and looking at the market structure. Hopefully it's a project continues to build, and if it does, great. But that's just one way I would advise for you guys to approach a coin like this. And if you have any other questions, guys, remember, I have a teaching Discord, guys, that I help you learn how to analyze, how to take profit, how to read the markets. If you're interested, great, look me up, bleedingcrypto.com. If you're not, you can DM me, and I'll send you links to free YouTube videos that can teach you all the things that you need to know. You don't have to pay anyone. You just have to put a lot more time, a lot more effort by yourself doing those. If you wish to do that, send me a DM. I'll be more than happy to do so. So let's move on to our next coin. We have two other coins we're going to cover. It's going to be ADA and Atom. So ADA is actually a coin that I already had analyzed, because I am very interested in ADA, and I definitely want to make sure that I load up on this particular coin for the next bull run. Now, remember, guys, when you look at my charts and you look at the analysis, I did the analysis based on Bitcoin doing a full retrace the way it did in the past. So with that in mind is how I analyze my altcoins, because we all know that every altcoin is tethered to a Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes down, so will these altcoins. And in turn, if I'm wrong and I have to adjust my analysis and my bias on Bitcoin, if she proves that she's going to continue, I am going to have to reanalyze these charts as well. So based on my analysis and based on what I'm looking for in the market for long term, I'm looking to buy ADA inside of this buy zone right in here. Inside of here is my buy zone, looking at how far she has fallen. And then I always take into consideration where Bitcoin is in as far as a retracement. When I look at Bitcoin at $40,000 and I look at how much this has already fallen, it gives me pause, because I've seen coins in 2017, like I'll give you an example, ICE, Icon, it went from the mid 20s to 10 cents. 10 cents, guys. So I view the market a little bit different than most people, because I don't view it based on the hopium. I view it based on experience, based on market structure, on how far it's coming down, when Bitcoin is coming down, and the fact that this has lost so much value in such a short amount of time in comparison to where Bitcoin is. It leads me to believe that this has a lot more to go, if I am correct in my Bitcoin analysis. So my buy zone here, guys, is 20-30 cents. That's my buy zone. Now, many people may think, oh no, that'll never happen, BC. This is X coin and this thing does too much. They have too many plans. You know what, guys? The price of a project does not reflect the utility of a project. And that's the problem that I think most people, when they trade something, they look at the utility and they say, oh no, never. The BNB could never be $5 because it's a platform they build. They're building a chain. All those things we heard in 2017 when BNB was on a run. She'll never go back to $5. Look at the charts, guys. Look at the charts. Where in 2018, where BNB retraced all the way back to $5. We just saw it at 600 and we just saw it at 647 bucks. And you know what? BNB at $5 and BNB at $647. There wasn't much change. They were just starting their Binance Smart Chain. The DEX was still their exchange was still there. The centralized exchange was still there. Yes, they grew. They had now they have a lot of stuff launched on it. But guess what? BNB is going to come down as well. And let me ask you a question. You saw BNB at $647 Pi, right? Do you remember that?
Yep.
Okay, now if you see BNB back down at $100, wouldn't you be motivated to buy at $100 if you liked it at $647, right?
Heck
it's the
yeah.
same coin. It's just, they're still building, they're still innovating. It's the same exact project. And that's what people need to understand when they look at a market. Don't base the utility of the project by the price. The price has nothing to do with it. The price has everything to do with one thing, guys. It's called a market cycle. This is how people make money in this market, in any market for that matter. You look at broader markets, nothing just goes up. It goes through a retracement, it goes back down. Amazon, same thing. Microsoft, Apple, they've all retraced. And yet, do they stop building? Do they stop innovating? No, they don't. Those guys, the engineers and the people behind those companies, they continue to just work and work and work because they know that the price of their shares of their stock is irrelevant to what they're doing. They're going to continue to plow forward and allow all the people in the market making money to do what they need to do on that end. And they're just going to continue to move forward. Same thing with ADA. ADA at 20 cents should actually get you excited, because if you are a fan of ADA and you understand the FA, the fundamentals, there's no reason why you should be afraid or not welcome a 20 cent or 30 cent ADA when you've seen it at, what is the high here? Let's see. Let me take a look real quick here. The high of ADA was $3.10. Guys, $3.10. You know what type of ROI is that, guys? Look at this. Actually, I have it right here. Let me move this out of my way. 797%. That's incredible. That's not even, that's if you catch it at 34 cents. At 34 cents, you're at 797% ROI. Now, here's the thing, guys. This is a straightforward analysis. Like, okay, here's my buy zone, here's a free position, here's the top. It doesn't mean you have to wait for it to go down here. There is nothing wrong with buying an 82-cent ADA and scaling in. Because when you buy ADA at 82 cents and then you buy it again at 55 cents, you have automatically lowered your entry of 82 cents. Depending on how much you buy at the 55 level, you've significantly dropped your average position. And every time you buy lower, you drop all the higher entries that you've made. That's the beauty, and that's why you hear so many traders advise you to dollar cost average. Trying to guess the bottom is a very, very dangerous game to play. So I hope this helps you guys a little bit to get an idea of my mindset behind ADA and where I'm looking for in the event that Bitcoin does continue to come down and does a full retrace. The last request, guys, is going to be Cosmos. Adam, very, very interesting project. I have listened to some of the fundamentals. I think they're going to be a very good project in the future. They're going to have a lot of partnerships. Being able to go cross-chain I think it's going to be the next big thing, guys. There's so many chains popping out everywhere. And I'll tell you guys, I am now venturing into the FTM chain, and I'm in the Binance Smart Chain now. And it definitely has a learning curve, guys. It's not that easy. And companies like this are going to make it very easy for you to invest across the chains in one area. So that is definitely something I'm going to be looking forward to, which is why I already had a chart open here as far as what I want to invest in. And this is definitely one of those projects that I want to invest. Now, my buy zone here, guys, again, it may scare you, It may be a little bit more than you may want to accept. And I'm not saying that I'm 100% right. Analyzing Bitcoin, like I mentioned before, I'm thinking the buy zone is going to be the sweet spot for that buy zone is going to be somewhere here in the 886, which would be in the somewhere in the $6 range. But when she starts getting close to the 706, 786, you better believe I'm going to be buying. I'm going to be definitely scaling in. But my main focus, the majority of the money that I have allocated to this project will be in here. And guess what, guys? If I scale in here and we consolidate here and Bitcoin's consolidating and Bitcoin turns around and she starts going back up, I buy it up here or I buy it up here. You don't have to be so focused on getting the absolute bottom. That is a fool's game. It doesn't, you don't have to, you can put yourself a buy zone. I also like to call these stink bids. Areas that you think will never happen. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that phrase. And just to see those areas get disproven when people say, oh, that'll never happen. It does, guys, and it can, and we've seen it many times. So being ready and having a plan is your number one priority when you're inside of this market and you want to try to be as successful as possible. It isn't always going to play out the way you think it's going to be. So you start scaling in. You get into your sweet spot. You know what need to do. If it doesn't reach your sweet spot, you know what to do as well. And then you have some metrics like as far as taking a free position, you may have to adjust those, but those are minor. Those are minor. The important part is that you buy it as low towards the bottom as possible. And what you don't want to do, you don't want to be these guys. You don't want to be the guys here buying the last two big green candles. I want to be the guy buying the last two red candles. And that's the difference between an experienced trader and a FOMO Twitter trader. They buy big green candles. I buy big red candles. That's where the opportunity is. I'm sure you guys have heard the expression, fortunes are forged in blood. Well, the red candles represent blood in the streets. And that's where people like myself like to buy. This is where we see opportunity, and this is how we make a living and continue to make a living when we get to catch those events and we buy blood in the streets. Let me just show you a quick example. Look at this, guys, here. Look at this big run up here. Look at these two big, ugly red candles where most people are afraid to buy. Those who bought these ugly candles, look at the ride they had. Look at this ride. You see that? And you think this may not happen again? Take your time, journal it, watch the markets, and you'll be fascinated on how when you look to the left, all these patterns where it rises and it gives it back 80%, 70%, continue to play out. As a matter of fact, let me give you a quick example before I head out. I just want to make my point on how these cycles repeat themselves. Look at this one here. Look at this run here. Bottom of this run is right here. Swing low, swing high. She came all the way back. Look at that, to 786. Okay, that's one. Now check this out, guys. This is I love this kind of stuff, Pi. I can go on for days.
I see that.
I can go on for days. I have such a passion for TA because it's so interesting to me on how these things continue to repeat themselves. Look at this run, guys. Look at the swing low, swing high. Look at that, same exact level, 786. Though this one she dipped, they did wick a couple of times, but it found support at 786, the exact same area she found here. So now when you fast forward and you look at this, and I'm looking at this area here, why would you think that this is not gonna happen? It's happened before, and I'm sure when it happened before, people said the same thing. Oh, no way, it's not gonna happen this time. Happened once, it happened twice. Guess what, guys? Eventually it's gonna happen again. So make sure you're on the right side of the trade. That's always gonna be the most important part you wanna look at, guys. Every trade, you have a winner and you have a loser. If you're on the right side of the trade, you know you're gonna be the winner and you're gonna make money. All right, Pi, that's pretty much it for those three altcoins. Is there anything else that you wanted me to cover?
No, your passion for TA gets me all fueled up. I'm like, yes, I see the patterns, and they're always in front of our face, but I just want everyone to know emotions are a real thing, and you do have to fight those emotions. It takes a lot. I mean, even till this day, I will still sit here and be like, even though I know logically, I know what to do, I will still sit here. No, I really think this is going to still run up more. And then I watch my prediction come true that it goes back down, but I didn't listen to myself. It is hard. It's hard. So sometimes maybe you have to do what BC was telling me on when we met. Take a half of your coins and just do, try to play it out with only half and leave the other half to ride up. So you're not feeling so much anxiety. I know we both went through this with PTSD syndrome from 2017. So it is hard.
It is very much so. And the truth of the matter is this, guys. It's nearly impossible to remove your emotion, guys. I know you hear that a lot. A lot of these traders go on Twitter, they tell you that. You see me, guys. You see me talk about, you don't think I have emotion? I'm very passionate. I can't remove that passion when I look at this. But here's the thing, guys. I learned a rule set. I learned a system that with time has proven to work and has made me money. So when I see that, when I find that system, I utilize it, and I have rule sets. So those rule sets all are always the same, and you can't change them, because if they've proven to make you money more often than not, and you have to rely on those rule sets, so that no matter how emotional I may get, if my rule set is not hit yet, then I don't buy or I don't sell until that rule set applies. Obviously, you have to adjust it depending on market conditions. But when we're talking about retracements, when we're talking about moves like this, and we all know there's bear and bull cycles, you have to stick to the rule set that has worked out for you more often than not. So it's not so much about removing the emotion, but having a rule set in place so that you can trust your rule set and not trust your emotions. Because if you trust your emotions, that's when you get caught. You think it's easy to see something fall like this, guys? When you bought up here, it's not. You're going to be full of emotion. You're going to be full of anger, rage, and disappointment that you saw this coming down. That's a given. But guess what, guys? When I see this, I'm excited, because I learned that my rule set said, you know what? We're going to sell every time this thing doubles. We're going to sell. So I've already removed 1, 2, 3, 4 free positions. So as it's going down, I now have all of this money ready for me. And this signifies, guess what? Another opportunity. And of course, I'm going to have emotion. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to go back to my rule set. I'm going to say, okay, we know this was going to happen eventually. Where do I buy? Where do I start to buy? And like I showed you before, these patterns, they like to repeat themselves. So moving forward, I'm going to rely on those same patterns that we saw here and buy on those on the way down. All right, Pi. Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. I appreciate it. I'm sorry that I might have went a little longer than we anticipated. When you get me started talking about TA, I can't stop. I absolutely love this, which is why I have a Discord, guys. Like I mentioned before, if you guys feel like you want to take this to the next level, you want to improve your TA skills, hit me up. I'm more than happy to send you over my website address so you can take a look and see if it's something that interests you.
Thanks so much, BC. I've learned a lot. I really appreciate you being on and your passion. I'm going to go and chart some of my coins now.
All right, you got it.
All right, we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing show. I learned so much. I mean, it just goes to show that how important TA is, how important it is to look at both sides of things. The bullish and the bearish. Is always good to remain unbiased and have a plan for both the up and the down, you guys. And never marry your coins. This is a lot easier said than done. I understand I know for a fact, having been there personally, it's very difficult. But remember, if you're planning on being in this market for a long time, you have to take profits. You got to eat, right? And so it's important to take profits, and it's also important to try to get as many free positions as you can. So if the market does take a downturn, hey, you'll have some money on hand to be able to buy the dip, right? Again, I have learned so much from having BC on for the past 2 weeks. I hope you guys are learning with me. I appreciate you being here. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And hit that notification bell while you're there. If you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. And for next week, I will have BC back again. So if you have some more altcoin requests, go ahead and put them in the comments. That would be amazing. We will also be doing a Twitter post as well to get some more altcoin requests. So go ahead and leave a comment, and I will see you next time. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back. I'll be back very soon with another episode of Piece of the Pie, where I will be helping you get your piece of the pie. Bye.